All right, what's up? I'm back again. Another episode of Moment of Truth. I believe this is episode 8. Okay. Last episode, I told you a Spartan story. This episode, I'm going to tell you another Spartan story. All right. The first one was about the super and where I had to make a comeback. This one is kind of more the same, a little bit different. So, all right. For those of you who don't know, which you probably do, if you check my Instagram handle, it says Super Spartan Mojo. I'm really into OCRs/Spartan races. All right. Reason being, they give me something that a lot of things I've done in my life has not. Just came a little bit. This puts me in a position that I go on adventures and I'm in different terrain that I'm not used to being in, and the terrain is hard as all hell. So this story has a couple of parts to it. So back in 2016, as you know, or you don't know, I had by that time I lost both of my parents within 9 months of each other. And lots of things in my life was going haywire. Shit was real. And I felt like I needed something to bring me out of it. So, and something that was going to scare the shit out of me too. So I decided to sign up for the Spartan Ultra. All right. And they used to call it the Ultra Beast when I signed up the first time. So this is the first time I did it. So in 2016, I signed up for the Spartan Ultra Beast, and I didn't choose Vernon, which was close by. I didn't have to do any overnight stays and things like that. No, I chose to go to Killington, Vermont, which is considered Joe DeSena's backyard. Why would I do that? Don't know, but I just felt like I had to. I had to do something to. I felt like I was still writing letters to my parents, to my mom mostly, and this was something that I felt like I had to do. Now, lots of things was crazy about that day. Number one, I didn't really have race support. I didn't have anybody with me that was really trying to be in my corner as much. And it is what it is. That's not the main focal point of the story. But I will go into what happened that day. So I take off I get to the venue around 6:30. We're delayed. Okay. I didn't have any idea that every moment counted at all. I thought, all right, well, I'll do what I do and find my way through it and be okay. No. So being that we were delayed, it pushed the time up quite a bit by half hour. And I'm going through the whole thing. I'm looking around and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, this is wild. Like, what am I doing here? There's just no one around me. I don't know anybody. I'm totally by myself. And I was by myself and in my feelings, so I was already worried about swimming. I was like, I got to do this and I got to go into this lake. If I don't go into the lake, what am I going to do? I can't swim. So just hold on to that part, the whole part of me not being able to swim. That right there is crux. So take off. We're going through obstacles, going up these hills and it's a lot, man. The damn hills over there in Killington. We're going up a double black diamond ski slope. And if you have no idea what that is, just basically going to treadmill that can go up to maybe about 20 to 30% grade and maybe add another 5 or 10% to that. And that's what you're going up. It's wild, man. It's some crazy shit. And we decide to do that. A bunch of people decide to do that. And the course director that year was pretty infamous for making the courses very, very difficult. Not just the terrain, but the obstacles and stuff as well. So moving along, I even have a walkie-talkie, by the way. We had that so I can radio back to the other parts of the team, who were doing the beast, and they were starting much later than me. So we had that. And I'm like walking along and bugging out about the water. That water was on my mind the whole time because I'm like, I can't swim. What am I going to do to get around the water? And so fast forward, I get to the lake. I hesitate. I stand around for about 10, 15 minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Am I going to get a life vest and try to swim out here? What am I going to do? And then I finally made the decision to wait along the coast. So I went along the coast, did 30 burpees one spot, 30 burpees another spot, 30 burpees at the end. And once I passed, I'm like, all right, we're good. We're out. We're running. Bam. Boom, doing what I'm doing. Get to the halfway point, and I go and get my sandwich, whatever. And I saw someone like get cut off. And I'm like, yo, this is real. And they said, oh, we made a mistake. And then they put it back in. She was just already done. Because once you cut somebody off while you're doing the ultra, they're finished. Their head space just is done. It's like, this is so much work. This is so hard. If you're saying that I'm done and then you can tell me I can go back in, I'm not going to do that. So this is what happened to this poor girl. So I take my time a little bit in the transition area, and I rested a little bit too long, getting comfortable. I talk about that often. Don't get comfortable being comfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. So then we go off the second time. I'm out there, I'm like, I don't see a soul. Like, there's no one here. What the hell's going on here? And I see people like going in and turning around, coming back. They're not going to make it. They go in, they turn around. They're just not going to make it. They're just tapping out. And I'm like, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. This is not happening to me. I'm going to make it. So I go. And I go along, I get back to the lake again. Round 2. What do? I hesitate again. And then my watch dies. And then I'm like, all right, well, maybe I can check by, using the sun and cloud cover and stuff like that. And then, oh, guess what? Clouds rolled in, covered up the sun. Couldn't see where I was, couldn't estimate my time based on the sun. Then I was out. Then it started getting dark. Then the headlamp had to come out. And I do a couple of obstacles. I start taking off. I asked them, what time is it? And they told me, I believe it was around, I want to say close to 6:30 or something. I have to check the notes. I wrote all this stuff down. But anyway, I get to the rope climb. The race director and a bunch of people are there. They cut my time chip. My race is over. I was pissed because at that point, I reached the point where I was like, I don't care. I'm going to go. I'll be out here until next week, which was the benefit of me doing that. Downside was I failed. And I had to figure out when I was going to come back and do this because I could not go without finishing this. So that's a short version of that story. So then we fast forward to 2019. All right, we're talking about a year or so. How many years passed? 2016 to about 2019. So it's 3 years. 3 years. I had quadricep tendonitis. I had a hernia. I had a bunch of things go on. And all I was able to do at that point before 2019 Ultra was take yoga and meditate. My whole training regimen got shot to shit. That's a training. And being that it was shot to shit, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But early in 2019, actually, no, I'm sorry, early in 2018, was it 2018 I signed up for? Nope, it was 2019 I signed up for. Earlier on, I'm like, what am I doing here? I got up one day and I just signed up. I signed my ass on the dotted line. I'm like, oh, this is real now. This is going down. By then, Jen and I were together, but we were like living with each other. And I was like, okay, this is happening. I signed up for this, scared shitless. But I was saying to myself, I gotta redeem myself. This is the time to do it. So, bam, fast forward, we have our engagement. We have all these wonderful events show up. Jen had run 2 Spartan races with me prior to that. And then comes the day. She's out there doing the beast. We had a whole different dynamic starting up now. I had someone there. She was there with me until I took off. She didn't just take off and leave. And then I made a friend with a French Canadian guy whose name I cannot pronounce. So I had an accountability partner. It's another lesson there. I had an accountability partner. They made the water optional this time, which was cool because still couldn't swim that well, but I didn't hesitate. I said, either I'm going to do these burpees and just move, or if I got to go in that water, whatever, regardless, I'm going to go in. So I resolved myself to having to deal with what's going on with this. Big difference this time. So we're off to see the wizard. And the conditions was cold, raining, and cloudy, and windy. And it was a day of epic proportions. I told myself I don't care the entire 14 hours and some change I was out there. And we had walkie-talkies, Jen and I, but Jen was out there kind of suffering in solidarity with me, doing her first beast, choosing to do the hardest venue in the Northeast. And when you know you got someone else in your corner that's going through the same thing you're going through to a certain extent, it pushes you along. It's another little gem right there. So we got going along. She radios in that she's close to being done. She said, I'm at mile 12. I'm almost done. I'm like, no, you're not. There's 15 miles for you halfway there. There's 15 miles is the end point. And so she gets there. She's like, what? But nonetheless, we fast forward a little bit. She crosses the finish line. By this point, my legs are done. I can barely stand up, walking up the hills. And I've missed about several different obstacles because my hands would not grab onto bars and would not help me across these things. So, so we're going along, and I hear the call go through the radio, and something in me snaps. I'm like, I cannot let her finish her race and me fail. So my race partner at the time, I'm gonna call him G, was on top of the damn hill. And he's like, you're all right down there? I'm like, yep. Hands and knees crawling. I said, I'll catch you. Don't worry about it. And sure enough, he goes. I said, don't wait for me. I'll catch you. I caught him. And we finished the race together. We come down that damn hill, toenails busted, everything done. Quadriceps are beyond shot. Hip is like kind of screaming at me. But I was gonna jump that damn fire. That last obstacle was like, whatever, the rig, I did that. I almost made it. I'm like, you know what? Getting off of this thing. I ain't got time for the burpees on this one. And we crossed the finish line. 14 hours in. It's nuts. Now, granted, mind you, this kid is 27 years old. I'm in my 30s. And if it wasn't for him and the support that I have from Jen over the radio, I probably wouldn't have made it. You know, so I got my redemption. That race right there was a huge, huge turning point in my life because it told me that I can really do the tough things, which goes into the superhuman X code of I am tough enough to do tough shit. And well, that's just the first part of it. It's a long thing, but I'm not going into all that right now. So we crossed the finish line. It's done. I can't walk for 7 days. If I give myself a week, do a video, 240 burpees to my homeboy G, who stayed with me for 14 hours and helped me through that race. So, did I get my redemption from Killington, from that ultra? I believe so. I have the shoulder damage kind of to prove it from doing 240 burpees at the gym the following week. But there's a lot of things that happen with these two races. Number one, I learned to stop hesitating because the hesitation was a thing that made me fail the first time. Number two, get a good support system, get a good accountability person. Because if someone can hold you accountable and hold your ass to the standards that you're setting, then you'll make it pretty far. You'll get somewhere for sure. The next thing I learned was be afraid, be very afraid, but do the shit anyway. You know, when you step up in the face of adversity and you decide that you're gonna make this thing happen, come hell or high water, you usually make it happen. Number 4, when you really let go and you just enjoy every single step that you take, and you just get lost in what's happening at that very moment, that can also take you. What happens sometimes is that, and what I did this before. I've tested for my black belt twice. And the first time I kept thinking about the end result. When you think about the end result, you end up getting stuck where you end up getting stuck right where you are. And that end result could be way far out there, and you put all this undue pressure on yourself. You don't need to do that. So in the moment, as I was climbing up that damn hill on my hands and knees, I remember feeling the mud in between my fingers, my knees getting caked in the mud, the hole in my sock that just got bigger and bigger, you know, my wet socks and all that, the wind that came up and hit me in the face as I came up over the ridge. I remember all that stuff in great detail. And it's a part of life that it will never go away. It's a part of my memory. It's going to always be there. And it's great. You know, these things are hard, but they're things that count. So stop looking at the end result. Stop looking way down the road. Stop looking at the top of the mountain and focus on the shit that's right in front of you, because that's the stuff you have to deal with. That's the stuff that you can control in the moment. That's the stuff that's going to bring you to the next level where you need to be. And that's the stuff that you'll find that's going to grant you your pathway towards the redemptions that you seek. And when you do that and you focus on the shit that's in front of you and you get that redemption that you're looking for, you have a lot to be proud of. Then you have a story to tell someone else. You have something to pass on to somebody else, whether it be your kids, somebody you work with, all that. Now, this is a pretty long episode, but I wanted to give you an idea of redemption and the story behind one of my toughest races. If you want to read up on the whole thing, you can go on the website. Well, you can find it on the website and find the blog post, Lessons from the Mountains. So there's the first Ultra story, and then there's the second Ultra story. You can find out what happened between both of them. They're about 10-page reads each, so about good 20 pages. Check them out. All right. So till next time. All right. Remember, redemption happens in the moment. Only you can control that stuff. Right? That's the thing you can control. Don't focus on the parts way down the road. Just focus on what's in front of you. And do the things that make you scared. You know, and have a little faith. That's another thing. That's the 5th part of it. Have faith. All right. Have a good support system, good accountability partners is necessary. So with that being said, I'm out. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching and listening to my whole spiel here. All right. Great.